Welcome to another week of Ether Raids. We are taking on our first match of the week here, starting very late on a, what is this, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, pretty much. Yeah, real late. And we're going to go ahead and get this one done with the main team that I think I'll be using this team quite a bit this season. I used it quite a bit last season, and really all I did was swap Ash out for Thor. For what am I saying? I swapped Ash out for Asker. Yeah, that's what we're going to get into. Not much different. He doesn't even really offer much. He's essentially a smite bot. That's kind of crazy that Asker is a smite bot on this team. I was like setting him up for like Gale Force Wings of Mercy, but no one here is really going to be taking any damage. Yunaka has Desperation, and if she's taking any damage, it's not going to be enough to get her into Wings of Mercy range. Rune has Miracle, so he's like the only option that could potentially be a beacon. And then Golveg, depending on whether or not she gets hit hard enough, could also be an option. But for the majority of it, this team is not going to be doing a lot with Asker. He's just here to potentially snipe someone into position. And for that, I probably should have given him some type of extra movement. Probably the Sigurd ring, but I needed it on the dancer more, so it's just what it is. But yeah, should be able to clear this as long as I don't make any crucial errors. Golveg will be doing the majority of the work, and then Yunaka is like the main nuke. So yeah, you've seen it before. You'll see it quite a bit more this week, hopefully. Unless things get really hard, then I'm gonna have to box out or bring out the teams that I kind of whipped together over the past 2 days. Don't even know if they're good, but I had to do something about the whole Camilla of it all. And I noticed that a lot of people are going to I don't want to say a lot, but a few defenses that I've been looking at have been going into more of a boxed, walled off configuration to prevent Camilla from warping in, or to minimize the spaces that she can warp into that are safe. And that's an interesting approach. Don't particularly like that, because what it does is that it makes you vulnerable to you're essentially, if you don't have someone who can warp out, then you've essentially just locked yourself in with no hope of attacking. So a lot of those teams also have Camilla on their defenses as well to be the primary threat. But if you have someone with Hardy Bearing, then you can probably counter her pretty easily. Or if you have someone with Vantage, you can also use that as a counter. So there are ways around that boxing off strategy. I don't recommend boxing off your defense. It doesn't really benefit you in the long term. And even if you box off your defense to prevent Camilla from warping in, she's not the main threat. There are other units out there that are going to snipe you. And you just, again, make yourself an easy target for lane teams who can then use that additional space to set up and take you out on whatever turn it is that they want to use to take you down on. So don't recommend it, but if that's what you got, that's what you got. I can't be mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But I mean, yeah, just do what suits you best, I guess, even though I probably would not. Again, I don't recommend it. But yeah, Camilla of it all, I do have a Camilla team. It was just impossible going into this season here. The threat range is just too big. The pass, yeah, it's just too much to try to combat, especially for me, since I don't play with a safety fence. So I don't necessarily get that free turn to be safe once Camilla is on the map. So the best way to counter that is just, I guess, to bring my own Camilla and try to break through.
I agree.
It does have its limitations, which is why I've tried to figure out how to get Lapis back involved, because he doesn't really care about Hardy Bearing. The downside is, though, if there's a Brave hit, then she can potentially be in some trouble because she doesn't have Brave DR. But barring that, Lapis should do fine with helping me get that extra action in, and also covering some ground and opening terrain for Camilla to warp. Okay, here's our second match of the day. Another one that we're gonna use the same team. Like I said, this is gonna be the season for this team. Most of my teams score a lot better with Asker in them, but like I said, he doesn't really offer anything aside from being a smite bot, which is insane because Asker was like the go-to for special acceleration. But I really wonder what they're going to do with his refine. I don't think making him similar to Halloween Asker at this point is going to do anything for him, because Halloween Asker isn't even like useful. I guess the Breath of Life thing is great, but for offense, Ather Raid's offense, you don't want that. Unless you have like someone incredibly tanky, the Breath of Life doesn't matter if you're just dying to Camilla. So I don't know. He's gonna have to. Asker's refine is gonna have to be something insane for him to pop back up into the meta, and I just don't see that happening. So I feel like the main thing that he did was the special charges, and that is completely out the window now. Everyone has special jump, everyone has special acceleration. So yeah, his whole niche has been completely stepped on. So I don't know. Maybe if he gives some types of special jump in combat, maybe that will be cool. But again, it's completely unnecessary. He doesn't. I don't know. It is not going to help him get back into the meta. It's kind of sad because he was really, really good. I guess you can make him bulky as you want to make him, but I think Camilla will still break through. Unless you give him like something like Cardi Baron in his weapon, but I don't really see why they would do that. That's kind of bizarre. But yeah, Camilla, to counter Camilla, that's kind of the strategy that I've fallen into, which means I gotta bless my Camilla multiple times per season, which is annoying. I hate doing that. If I had known that was what I would have ended up, I probably would have. Well, the banner's still out. Well, as of recording, the banner's still out, and I was contemplating, but it was so mean to me. Also, I ended up getting Lissa's, at least quite a few times instead of anything else. So
right.
Damn. I'm so tired. I don't know, man. I don't think I want to go back in on that banner just to get another Camilla, but it's tempting just to avoid the extra blessings. Kind of the same thing with Seteth. I just don't have the fodder to completely kit out the other Seteth just yet, but that is on my mind, so I can use less blessing. Oh god, I can't even say the word. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Because I use him, Saline, and it's looking like Camilla now on a ton of seasons. They just move all over the place. So I'd like to not do that, but they're just too good to leave behind. So yeah. Tiki, I think I'm going to commit her to Asker season to support Sita, or to be an alternative to Sita. I don't have a solid AoE negator on that season, so that's what Tiki will probably end up doing, even though, again, man, I ended up not being too confident with her ability to tank, but we'll see how it plays out with the mythic supports. How will she perform? Maybe I just don't let her have to deal with range units and just have her be a frontliner.
What now?
Maybe she'll perform better that way. I don't know. But that's the idea. She's not the greatest. I don't know if the merges will even... I guess like she does appreciate having those extra stats, but she is just... she's no Tamara, I'll tell. Well, when Tamara came out, she was really strong. I guess she is kind of exactly like Tamara currently in terms of just like tanking capabilities, frontlining. She's kind of exactly like Tamara. They're all like in a interesting spot, which is kind of the same sentiment that
I agree.
DTM and co had from the podcast. They're just saying that she's just not the greatest, which I understand. I totally agree with them on that. She needed to be a little bit stronger to really, really stand out, and I don't know if that's her not being the strongest is a good or a bad thing. I'm not entirely sure, but she's Tiki. a lot of shades of young Ascended Tiki. That's how I feel about her. And Ascended Tiki fell off in like 2 weeks, so kind of crazy. Naga, still very high on Naga. I think Frozen is fantastic. Guard sucks, but Frozen is fantastic. And she does give out some stats and stuff, so I'm very high on Naga. Would love to try to figure out a way to incorporate her into teams in the future for like SD and stuff, but that's on the burner for now. SDR, haven't started practicing yet. Do love this mapping comparisons because there's actually tiles that I can move to, which is, oh, I hated that last map, but yeah, that SDS map, but yeah, SDR should be fun. It's a pretty decent map, not like, it's way better than the one that we had to use last time. That just sucked. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making some teams for that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use the Camilla team. I had to drop Edelgard because she doesn't have pass. Not only does she not have pass, traps are a massive problem for her, so I can't get her to initiate safely without wasting 2 actions to smite her into position, or just moving her and then using a dance. It's just such a waste of action economy. Even though she has 3 actions for herself, I feel like I've already used up a few actions just to get her into position, and I don't like that. So I don't know how to solve. That's my problem that I've been having with melee initiators lately. Getting them into position has been tough. Camilla is a bit easier because of, you know, the movement that she has, and the same with Erica. And I'm looking more and more at Felix. I'm looking back at Felix. I'm even going as far back as Sharena, trying to see if I could maybe get her to work with Brave support from the Erica ring. But then the gravity, like if she steps on the gravity trap or the heavy trap, it's kind of a problem for her. She, you know, doesn't have the most bulk, and then to be reduced to 1 movement when she depends so much on Excel is kind of a no bueno for her. So I don't know, man. It's just, I wish there were more units like Felix who could just step on traps and keep going, or at least have it be a part of Edelgard's effect, which I guess is asking for too much since Edelgard already does so much. Yeah, it's just another Felix unit or Felix ult would be appreciated. Not necessarily in terms of power, but just the mobility or the ability to just ignore traps. Disarm trap has been like so important for me lately. In combination with wind sweep, I've been trying to figure out how to get wind sweep in on my dagger units, but just not very many can do the combination. I was looking at Ascended Joshua, but mine's a little bit outdated, and he would need a bit of investment to get it to work. And then he does need some extra true damage, so I don't know how that would fit into running full disarm, which is probably the best one in a specific situation for someone like Joshua. So I don't know, maybe I'll test it out, see how he actually performs with the skill. I think I have water to do it, and then it's just a few dragon flowers to get him up and running fully. So I don't know, maybe I'll give that a test, see how he performs, since I can't use him on defense anymore since he doesn't do enough damage. But yeah, wind sweep, very important, alongside flash, which I really considered, but again, trap placements, waste of an action to get the flash into play unless you have it at the start of turn. But then Freyr, it's just so much to consider, man. It was really tough making teams for this season. I ended up going with Camilla because of those factors. It's a lot less things to think about because she does so much, and it's really annoying that she does so much because it really just raises the bar for what units need to do in the current game, and it's so much. Pass, warp, terrain, kill things by hitting really hard. There's so much stuff that she does, and that's just naming a few, man. It's to make a good unit in this stage of the game, it's asking for too much. I feel like they're boxing themselves into a corner slowly boxing themselves into a corner when it comes to these unit designs. And I don't know, man. Even with looking at the banners that are out lately, I feel like they're giving away emblem units when we had such a drought Lin has been on like 4 banners back to back at the very least. At least 4 or 5 banners now, and I feel like everyone has her. So I don't know what to think about it. It's like everyone has the ability to get an emblem unit now when they were really premium when they just started out. So GG's, man. Let's play one more since I backed up. Alright, here we go. We got I don't know how to say that. Gatekeeper here. Using the Erica team this time because I am falling asleep. So Erica, not too much thinking, just gonna throw her up there and figure out how to get the pots in between. It's a pretty straightforward defense, nothing too complex. My man Gatekeeper here is probably the biggest problem since he has cancel control, which is a deterrent to my Yunaka. I'm still playing the game fairly. No Sakura, well, at least she's out of season. I had a team that I was trying to cook up, essentially just strongest nuke plus dancers, and it was a tuned Alm, but I did some matchups and gotta say, man, legendary Crom came out on top. Legendary Crom just did way more and didn't have to waste an action to cleanse his penalties. Granted, you know, it was a positional swap, reposition to change fate, but still, not having to waste a dance was fantastic. And yeah, with 4 hits, Crom was doing way more damage than Alm, which benefits me. So I swapped out a Tune Alm for Legendary Crom, and that's the team, plus some dancers, and we'll see how it performs. Maybe I use it, maybe I don't. Not the most actions in the world. I was really hoping for someone who could get like an extra action, like Leaf, but there aren't that many units like that in the game. Maybe the role could have been filled by Leo since he has that swap, but I don't think he gets to use it multiple times, and then it's also AoE dependent whether or not he's going to be able to take things out, whereas Crom has armor effective damage, which will continue to age well with what Crom does. So yeah, I feel like that's a nice team. Don't know if I'll end up using it, but it's a nice team. Let's see what the rest of the week will hold as it relates to being able to use some of the teams that I've made. I'm kind of getting into a little bit of a stuck position here with Gatekeeper. He's kind of walling me out, which is annoying. But you know, we can continue to play around it. I feel like it's time for a Gatekeeper ult. It's been how many years? And we've gotten a Marth ult, we've gotten an Erica, plenty of Erica ults. Byleth has gotten featured in ults, and I don't know what the Gatekeeper hate is. I guess they just don't want to make him too powerful, but I feel like it's due time. We definitely need, I've been saying this for a while now, a new ult for Gatekeeper. I guess they, even though they, you know, cut him up and put him into higher ground and lower ground, I think the unit himself deserves an ult. Maybe they felt IS thinks because he got botted in. I probably shouldn't say that. That's not 100% true, but maybe he isn't as popular, or they're not confident in him actually selling on a banner. Maybe that's what's holding it up, but he definitely should get an ult at this time. And I think it'll be not even the craziest thing to be added to the game if he does come out. Mythic. Oh, yes. Understood. Mythic incoming by the time that you've seen this. Probably have already seen the trailer. Getting it for Chaos Season, I believe, is up next. I was looking at it. Probably Astra, which would suck. I will be cautious. But Anima has the extra unit slot. Light has it. Dark or Anima. Those are the 2 options. And Dark Season never gets anything good. So it's definitely going to be Anima. I can see that happening. Which is already such an easy season in terms of like team building, what you have to look out for defense. It's not that hard. Anima season, not that hard if you have your team built properly, which I did not have last week, so there's my caveat. But yeah, Anima season doesn't need any, what am I saying? Astra, I meant Astra season. Astra season doesn't need any buffs, any new mythic buffs. They're good enough as they stand, and I kind of hope that they decide to make it a dark mythic, although it would kind of mess up the rotation for Chaos Season because it would be two Dark Mythic, or it would be two Defense Mythics, because I think it's alongside Ather, who's bonus. So it definitely is going to be an offensive Mythic, and it's not going to be light. Well, it could be light. Maybe they just hate Rune that much that they make it a light Mythic, but I don't see that happening. It's more than likely going to be Astra. Getting stuck here with the pots, but you know, again, it's not the worst in the world. I'll deal with it. What that unit will end up being, or how impactful that unit will end up being, whether it's ranged, I don't think it'll be another armored unit, so it's probably going to be either melee or ranged, and yeah, that'll be very interesting in terms of who that unit is and what that does, what that unit does. Should be a really interesting thing to find out. We get Chaos Season to test it out. I'm kind of leaning towards Dark Mythic,
I agree,
or Light Mythic, one of the two, because we get to test out in Chaos, but then it's going to be Light Season again afterwards. So usually when they do that, it's so that we can use the bonus legendary on the upcoming season. So you know, it could be Light, and it could also be a Dark Mythic. I don't know. I think it's been a while since we've gotten Ather, or maybe not long enough. But I'd appreciate it if it was a Dark Mythic, even though it kind of complicates things for me, because then I don't know who I would drop. Maybe Ather himself, but what he does is so good. I don't know. Maybe I'd put Ather in the extra slot just so that he can be a nuisance, popping out late game, you know? At least Asker can, you know, be a sponge here. Still gonna hit, but not very much else to do with Asker. But in any case, I'm excited for potential of a new Mythic.
Understood.
Don't know what that's going to mean for the seasons in terms of like stronger, better, faster, which one will be the best. I currently think that Astra is like leading the way. As good as Dark Season is, I feel like Astra has some really strong tools overall. Ather, the snakes are just still very powerful. That's what it really boils down to. What else?
Maybe this way now.
Summer is getting closer and closer, man. I hope it's not like a major drain on my orb stat. Well, I don't have an orb stat. Let's go around. Yeah, but typically the summer banner is always like really insane in terms of like power creep, power spike. I don't know. Introducing characters that will dictate how the rest of the year will go. To some extent, Goldveg I feel like was a really good addition from last year. She's still going. A lot of the other summer units from last year have already fallen off. Petra is still good. Petra, I think she'll remain good. Just even need merges. Alir really fell off, but we'll see what happens, man. GG's.